All right, we'll go ahead and call this meeting of the Camarillo Sanitary District to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Director Kildee,
Yes.
Director Martinez-Bravo,
Here.
Director Santangelo,
Here.
Secretary Tennyson,
Here.
and Chair Tremblay.
Here. Record will reflect that all 5 directors are here tonight. Flag salute. Let's see. Director Santangelo, could you do the flag salute? Okay, thanks.
Please stand. Hand over heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we have a consent calendar. No, not quite yet. Sorry. Approval of agenda. No changes to the agenda, correct? All right. General public comments. Do we have any any members of the public who wish to address the Camarillo Sanitary District Board as opposed to the Camarillo City Council? Okay. All right. Very well. Thank you. Consent calendar. You have items A through C. Anybody want to pull anything?
I'll move the approval.
Second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Director Kildee,
Yes.
Director Martinez-Bravo,
Yes.
Director Santangelo,
Yes.
Secretary Tennyson,
Yes.
and Chair Tremblay.
Yes, record will reflect that that's approved on a unanimous 5-0 vote. Time for board and staff comments. Do we have any staff comments at all to the district board? Do we have any members of the board who wish to make any comments? I'll have a few later, but under our city council, about the CASA conference, but it'll be under our city council reports. All right, with that, we are adjourned.
All right, I'd like to call the successor, agency meeting for Wednesday, February 12th to order, and let the record reflect that all the directors are present. General public comments just for the successor agency. Seeing no one come forward, we'll move down to consent calendar. It's items A and B.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no's, please roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Martinez-Bravo,
Yes.
Councilmember Santangelo,
Yes.
Councilmember Tremblay,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Tennyson,
Yes.
and Mayor Kildee.
Yes. Okay, any board or staff comments and reports for the successor agency at this particular time? All right, hearing none, we stand adjourned. Okay, so with that, I'd like to call the Camarillo City Council regular meeting for Wednesday, February 12th to order, and let the record reflect that all the council members are present. We do not have any presentations tonight. However, this is general public comment time, so I do have 2 cards here, and I'll call you up as they were submitted. First is Barry, is it Simon? Barry here?
We're together.
Is it Simon? Is that right? Simhan, thank you. Barry and Simhan, I should know that. Look at me, I'm going for first and last names. I should know better. Please proceed.
Good evening.
Good evening, members of the City Council and those watching here and online. My name's Barry Funkhauser. I'm a non-profiteer here in Camarillo. We're lifelong residents of Camarillo, and we're part of a group launching a non-profit community low-power radio station here in town. And it's licensed by the FCC to serve the residents of Camarillo. Imagine a radio station that's truly our own, that provides emergency information in times of crisis, fires, floods, earthquakes. Reliable information is crucial, and our station will be a lifeline for that. Also a voice for the community. The station is supposed to be a platform for neighbors to come and learn how to do their own radio shows. And the station's called Cama Radio, and it not only enriches the cultural fabric of our city, but also enhances community, safety, and resilience. By supporting this initiative, the City Council would be demonstrating a commitment to localism, fostering civic engagement, and enhancing the quality of life for all of our residents. So we have a lot of challenges. Operating a radio station requires resources. And what we're asking for you today is your support in finding a suitable location for our studio. We're looking for a donated space, any available area open to the public with parking, and a restroom, where we can build our studio and train future broadcasters. We're seeking your support and guidance in identifying potential locations within the city. And we know this station has potential to be very valuable to our city. And we thank you for your time and consideration. And we'll leave you some brochures so you can
Got it
check
there.
out where we're at. And thank you.
Thank you.
Just to add few more points is,
Go ahead and speak
Not-
into the microphone, Simhan,
yeah,
if you would,
it's
please.
not
Thank you.
only a public service for the community, it's also a way to integrate with other Channel Island universities and train those internships for students and bring them in and give them the opportunities to become a much more part of this community, city of Camarillo. And one of the important thing is, as Barry said, is also a source for emergency management, disaster management, public announcements and things like that. So I think it's a very important factor in building this team together. As an advisory role, I think it's important for me to make sure they get that help. So,
Thank you for hearing us out.
Thank you very
And we could really use your help.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, the next blue card I have is actually Neil Congello. Neil here tonight? Yeah. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Yeah, that's
Good.
been mispronounced many times, but you got it right.
Thank you.
I'm embarrassed now they come up for emergencies, as this is gonna seem so insignificant. I should've went first, but I'll try. But I'm here about a silly thing about a batting cage regulations, and this is my second time here. I wouldn't be here if, I didn't think it was bothering people in the neighborhood. So I'll just try to read a little about it, what I could, right? So, the thing is, right, if you guys would know what I mean, if you had a batting cage in your yard, your neighbor doing it, sometimes I'm shocked to see that it's allowed. The yards are 30 feet apart. I could never sit in my yard in peace. Many times I jump when it's hit for the first time. They say the noise level should not go over 5.5, and I've clocked it over 7.7. And above all, it bangs off the metal pipes of the batting cage, making it a double bang and doubly loud. It appears to be a hard ball with an aluminum bat. It goes on for 2 hours at a time. The staff at Camarillo has said they've been getting more and more complaints about it, and that I should suggest that you guys please re-examine the code restrictions, and that's what I'm here for. I've told David Sanchez he's welcome to come to my house to witness it, because even if I record it, it's not as loud as it is in person. I've had neighbors tell me, older people, that they're afraid to say anything and they put headphones on. It just doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem fair. I don't know what all I'll accomplish by coming here, but I'm gonna try. It's just so annoying. I'm all about being fair, but if you would see for yourself how loud it is, I'm sure you would understand. The state of California has a law requiring softballs and wooden bats. So that's what I'm requesting, that you guys would please consider it and take a look at it.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being here. I do not have any more blue cards. Would anyone else like to come and make a, well, I do have another one. Hang on here. All right, I've got another one here. Patty, is it Baraga? Did I pronounce that right? Welcome.
You did. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Kilty, City Council members, and City of Camarillo residents. My name is Patty Braga. I am the Executive Director of Ventura County Leadership Academy. VCLA is a locally based nonprofit whose mission and purpose is to connect people and issues to strengthen our county. We do this by taking a diverse network of passionate leaders from the business, education, nonprofit, and public sectors, and we immerse them in the critical issues shaping Ventura County. We hear from subject matter experts on water and housing, transportation, education, and a host of other subjects. We build relationships across the industries and across the county. VCLA has a network of over 745 alumni, and we are currently in our 30th year. I'm here to share with you our 22nd annual Journey to Leadership Award honorees and invite you to this luncheon. hosted this year at Sakari Dunes at Mandalay Beach in Oxnard. The Journey to Leadership Awards Luncheon recognizes leaders in the business, education, nonprofit, and public sectors who have made an exceptional impact on our community. This year's honorees include our Business Leader of the Year, Edgar Terry, President and CFO of Terry's Farms. Our Educational Leader of the Year is Leanne Nielsen, Provost at California Lutheran University. Our Not-for-Profit Leader of the Year is Darcy Taylor, the CEO of Habitat for Humanity of Ventura County. Our Public Sector Leader of the Year is Selena Zacharias, a commissioner with the Oxnard Harbor District, Port of Hueneme. Our Alumni of the Year is Kevin Brannon, founder of Real Guppy Outdoors. He's a member of VCLA Cohort 20. And our Founders Award this year, named after Dr. Priscilla Partridge de Garcia, a Camarillo resident, a longtime Camarillo resident, is Dr. Stephen Elson. He is the CEO Emeritus at Casa Pacifica. He was in VCLA's Class 1. I hope you can join us Thursday, April 24th for the luncheon in Oxnard as we celebrate these amazing honorees. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. All right, as far as the blue cards, we have a gentleman, I believe, filling one out, so wait a bit here. And if anybody else would like to make comment, if you would fill out a blue card, that would be appropriate. All right, next we're going to have Mr. Sykes, I believe, if you, at the podium there. Yeah, yes, sir.
Thanks.
And if you could, 3 minutes, if you could keep it to that, would be appreciative. Thank you for being
Sure.
here.
Okay, I'm just here, I'm Mr. Sykes. I'm a member of the local Trinity Presbyterian Church, and they just recently had I guess, an annual, financial forecast kind of thing, and they have a lot of great members that have, are starting to pass on and this and that, and so they were projecting they might be, a little bit. They're real sound financially, but they might be for the year, they might be down, I don't know, 29K or whatever. And so my idea is they've got a beautiful, what I'll call expanded greenbelt area over there because they also have an elementary and partial middle school over there. And they've got maybe 9/10 of a basketball court. They have plenty of parking. You got street parking behind. I'm requesting that the city of Camarillo be open, even if they say no, open to the idea of bringing in some good bands, for fundraising, to have some concerts, sell some tickets, and have all of it, all the profits, proceeds go to the fire victims. I know that when my son was younger, after the 9/11 attack, I asked my wife, hey, don't even come home. Grab our son from school and just take off and drive, out of state Vegas and then fly to Nebraska to my mother-in-law's place. And then he was very fortunate to get into a famous Christian school called, in Lincoln, Nebraska, called Lincoln Christian. And one of my son's best friends became Carlos Santana's son, Carlos Santana, the musician, the rocker. And so he was very good. Mr. Carlos Santana was great every year when they would have, my son competed against his son, and my son won this annual 7th grade science project. And Mr. Santana was so generous in philanthropy, he didn't pull anything back, and and so just something of bringing everybody together. That's all I wanted to say, just to consider it.
Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
I do not have any other blue cards. Would anybody else like to address the council at this particular point? Okay, so with that, we'll go down to council and staff comments and reports. Who would like to start today? Ms.
Can start
Martinez
this way.
Bravo, would you like to
Thank
lead us?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. On January 27th, I attended the Homelessness Strategic Plan Stakeholder Engagement Meeting with Councilmember Tennyson. On January 31st, I attended the Kidstream groundbreaking ceremony with my fellow council members. February 4th, I attended a meeting with CSUCI Professor Dr. Miller. February 11th, I attended the Rexford Industrial Open House. And today at 3 o'clock, I attended the Goals and Objectives workshop with my fellow council members. And I would also like to ask to adjourn in honor of a friend and Camarillo resident and Holocaust survivor, Louise Lutterbeck Kosinski.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor, would you like to go?
I'll streamline mine since Councilmember Martinez Bravo covered some of them. On January 29th and 30th, I attended the annual CASA conference, and Councilmember Tremblay will go into more detail. On January 4th, as part of Regional Defense Partnerships, we began our major command visits in preparation for the Washington, D.C. trip to support our military bases and service members here in town. It's an annual lobbying trip that RDP goes on every year. On February 6th, I attended the RDP general membership meeting, and I think that'll be it.
Ms. Santangelo?
Okay, for meetings attended January 29th through the 31st, I was in Palm Springs at the CASA conference. February 6th, I attended the CPA general meeting. Back on January 31st, I attended the Kidstream groundbreaking. On February 5th, I had my meeting with the Homeless Strategic Plan team. And earlier today, I attended the Goals and Objectives. And that's all I've got.
Mr. Tremblay?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. January 23, I had a Utilities Committee meeting together with the mayor. On January 24, a Metrolink Board of Directors meeting in Los Angeles. On January 25, attended the Ventura County Chinese American Association celebration with the mayor. On January 27th, my homelessness strategic plan team meeting. From January 28th through 31, I attended the CASA conference together with other council members. Two particular items of note that are relevant for Camarillo. I promise you I won't go into it at length, but number one, just an outstanding presentation on artificial intelligence and AI and how it's going to affect the clean water sector. And the second on just as important a topic, even though it may not be as sexy, biosolids, and EPA's recently released risk assessment on biosolids. February 4th, Utilities Committee. February 6th, met with the residents in the Grove. February 7th, Ventura County Transportation Commission. Also some sidewalk hours with Supervisor Gorell, who had invited me to sit in. And then today I had a meeting of the Fox Canyon GMA Board of Directors, so I missed the 3 o'clock Goals and Objectives session due to my presence at GMA. And Mr. Mayor, not sure if you were planning on doing this. We also had the very sad news this week of the passing of Randy Churchill, who was an icon in this community in terms of community service. I'm not sure if we were going to do something at a future council meeting to honor him, and I can hold off on asking that we adjourn in his memory until that date, but I maybe wanted some guidance from the mayor on that one.
If you're so willing, ex-mayor and Councilmember Santangelo had brought that up. We thought we'd wait
Great.
until the obituary comes out and do it at the next meeting if you're
Sure,
both
that
of
would
us
be-
and all of us are agreeable to that.
That's right. Obviously, I haven't talked to anybody, so I didn't
Right.
know. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's it.
Okay, so on January 24th, I attended the City Selection Committee. January 25, Saturday, I attended for the groundbreaking for Habitat for Humanity on Berry Street for the affordable units. And it was very emotional for me, and I just have to say that there's a young lady that came up to me with her daughter, and practically with tears in her eyes, and said, "Would you please thank the other council members, past and present. This is the first time that I've been able to afford a unit with my daughter." And she asked me if I would take a Sharpie and actually sign my name on one of the columns that's going to be covered up with sheetrock there in the unit. But the units look beautiful, and the pride that there was probably 10 or 12 individuals there that are going to be able to occupy one of these units here, and they were smiling from ear to ear, and for what was there and what's there now and what we're able to attempt to accomplish, I think I want to thank my council members for their vision on that. It doesn't go unnoticed. Later that day, along with ex-mayor and council member Tremblay, I did attend the Ventura County Chinese American Association meeting, and that was a really good event, and they like the color red, so it was a lot of fun there. I was able to attend also the CASA Winter Conference on Thursday down in Palm Springs. That was the 30th of January. The 31st of January, I was able to attend the groundbreaking for the Kids Dream, and I want to publicly apologize to ex-mayor and council member Tremblay. I did not announce the reasons why he was not there, and that was an oversight on my part. And he is a huge supporter of what they're doing there, along with a lot of other things in the city, and I hope he'll accept my apology. Okay. Also, on February 7th, at the very end, I was able to attend Supervisor Jeff Gorell's public meeting here in Camarillo, and I think it's great that the supervisor are coming to Camarillo, and anybody out there that can attend one of these informal kind of meetings, it's really important that we do that. It's a wealth of information, and they're so, along with State Senator, I believe it's Assembly Member Bennett holds those too. So if you get a chance to go to any of those, highly recommend that you do it. January 23rd, I attended the Utilities Committee meeting. January 28th, I had a VRSD meeting. February 4th, I attended a Utilities Committee. February 5th, we had a VRSD committee meeting, and also February 6th, we had a VRSD meeting. So with that, it's been busy for all of us here. So are there any other reports or anything anybody else would like to say? All right, so with that, we're going to get down to consent calendar. I believe, Ms. Martinez-Bravo, did you have something that you didn't necessarily want to pull but have a discussion on? Is that correct?
That is correct. I wanted to make a comment and a suggestion for item C, if I may do that, but I do not wish to pull the item.
Okay, I think it's appropriate
Is now
for you to
the
make
time?
that. Yes.
Okay. So for item C, which is City Council Policy 1.05, City Council Meetings, if you go to page 3, and it speaks to voting and abstentions, if you're all there now. So for abstentions, you can abstain if there's a legal conflict of interest, and then that's basically the only time. B states all other abstentions will be treated as a yes vote. So what I would like is for that piece to go back to the policy committee to review, so I can better understand that, because I was in a situation where an item came to council. I did not have a full understanding of I felt like I did not have a full understanding at that moment. I was able to then talk to the district attorney after the meeting and gain a better sense to make a decision that was more informed. And so I just wanted to just kick that back to the policy committee to better understand that and see if we could include abstentions specifically when one feels that they're not prepared. And I know for that specific item, my vote was counted as a yes. So that is the only thing that I would like to add.
Is there any discussion on that? Legal, do you have?
I think she's approving what's here, but just asking that an item be taken back to a committee. So if that's something the council's comfortable with, they can agree to that.
Do we have any concurrence? Okay, but you're You're okay to approve
I'm
it
okay to
as
approve
submitted,
it, yes.
less that item that you'd like?
And that piece, bring it back, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so, what's the will of the council? There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Martinez Bravo,
Yes.
Councilmember Santangelo,
Yes.
Councilmember Tremblay. Yes. Vice Mayor Tennyson,
Yes.
and Mayor Kildee.
Yes. All right, that gets us down to item F. It's actually a public hearing, and it's the adoption of the building and safety fees is continued from the January 22nd, 2025 meeting. Do we have a staff report on that?
Yes, we do.
Is that going to be Mr. Sanchez? No.
Good evening, Mayor Kildee, council members. I'm going to provide a brief background to kind of catch us up to where we are today, and the council will continue their discussion. So the building fees for the city were last updated in 2007. Since then, city staff has worked with the city's consultant, NBS, to prepare a fee study to determine the fully burdened costs for building and safety services. The fee study concluded that the current fees recover about 48% of building and safety costs, with the general fund subsidizing approximately $1.2 million annually. The study also identified 2 additional cost recovery avenues, a general plan fee and a technology surcharge, which could also recover additional costs of approximately $800,000. The City Council has discussed this item in relative depth beginning in October of last year. The Finance Committee reviewed the fee study. The council also reviewed the fee study in December. The item was remanded back to the Finance Committee to cover a couple of pieces of feedback about when to charge fees and who to charge them to. And given that feedback, it traveled back to the City Council for consideration of adoption at the January 22 meeting. At the January 22 City Council meeting, the City Council expressed support for adopting the fee schedule, but also discussed reducing fees for the Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District. And at that time, the City Council made a motion to continue the public hearing to this meeting in order for the full council to participate in the discussion. And before we give the recommendation, just a note of order. There are some pages from Exhibit F that were inadvertently left out of the initial agenda distribution. Those pages were included in all previous staff reports that the council and the public reviewed, and the full exhibit has been updated online and made available to all members of the City Council. And with that, staff recommends that the City Council adopt the resolution approving the proposed building fees and then general plan and technology surcharge fees as well.
Any questions or comment at this particular point? Mr. Tremblay, do you have?
One other note, the proposed amendment that the council discussed at the last meeting, I've placed it on the screen for the council's consideration.
Just a note, I had made a motion to amend the suggested form of resolution put together by staff. I think I don't want to relitigate it. I think Councilmember Martinez Bravo and I had a really good discussion on this, which I really appreciated at the last meeting. We needed to get Vice Mayor Tennyson here to weigh in. And so my preference obviously would be to adopt a resolution with that amendment to the resolution, but I won't go through all the reasons why again. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Vice Mayor Tennyson?
Yes, I'm sorry I wasn't at that meeting. I had a family emergency, but that night when I got home, I took the time to watch it. It helped me fall asleep. Not that particular part, but I guess I have one quick question. The amendment says that we will reduce or waive the respected fees. If we're going to waive them, let's just say waive them. If we're going to reduce or waive, I guess I'd like a little more information on when they'd be reduced versus when they'd be waived for the Rec and Park District, and that's not clear with this amended.
Oh, Mr. Tremblay.
The purpose of that language was to grant some flexibility to the city manager, determine whether or not a fee, for example, ought to be waived or ought to be reduced by some amount. So I did not come up with a formula. I wanted to leave it in the hands of the city manager to make that determination to what he felt would be reasonable under the circumstances.
And I guess I wouldn't mind, I will support this proposed amendment, but I would like to see some more criteria on waive versus reduce at some future point. I'm just curious why we don't just say waive it.
Well, Mr. Mayor, well, there are some circumstances, I think we discussed before, there are some circumstances, I think, in which fees ought to be levied. So, for example, a building inspector, something like that. But with respect to a lot of other fees, the argument goes that it would be useful from a policy standpoint, or be good from a policy standpoint, to reduce or just waive them entirely. But I didn't come armed with all of the potential fees that the Rec and Park District could be responsible for. So I didn't really look at it from a, to say, okay, this fee should, X fee should be waived, Y fee should be reduced. I just wanted us to send that to the to the city manager for his review.
And I guess what I'd ask the city manager is if he feels like this gives the guidelines necessary on determining when to waive or reduce the fees.
I think so, and it's a case-by-case basis, but I feel comfortable that I could work with the building official and the community development director to effectively implement this motion if the council so chose.
Plus, as I believe it also says later on that you would report back to the city council on any fee waivers or reductions.
Correct.
Okay, I can support it.
Anyone else have questions or comments at this time? Ms. Martinez-Bravo?
Thank you. So just to clarify, this proposed amendment, it wasn't a recommendation from staff, but it was what Councilmember Tremblay was stating, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, I understand it, yes.
And if I understand this correctly, it sounds like staff did chime in to evaluate the statement and agrees that it would be okay to move that forward, and it gives enough direction.
As I understand the city manager's comments, that is correct.
That is correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Is any other questions or comments? This is an advertised public hearing, so I'm going to reopen the public hearing. I'm going to ask anybody from the public if they'd like to come and make a comment on this particular agendized item. Seeing no one come forward, I'm going to close the public hearing, and I'll ask for direction from my colleagues on the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt the staff's recommended form of resolution with the addition of section 2C, the proposed amendment to that resolution as set forth on the PowerPoint.
And I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, voice vote, please.
Councilmember Martinez-Bravo?
Yes.
Councilmember Santangelo?
Yes.
Councilmember Tremblay?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Tennyson?
Yes.
And Mayor Kildee?
Yes. Okay, that passes unanimously. Before we get to the closed session, we do have some individuals that were very important in our community that passed away. We do have 3 of them. I'm going to go through the first 2, and then Councilmember Martinez-Bravo is going to go for the last one and would like to make some comments. So again, before we get into the closed session, if council will allow me, I'd like to start off with the first of 2. First one was an individual named Edward A. Jones. And Ed Jones is actually a relative of my stepmother, Maggie Kildee. And Ed was a Renaissance man. He was an unbelievable person. He died at the age of 94. And he resided in Thousand Oaks, and he was in the political landscape from the early 70s until a year ago, actually. He moved to Thousand Oaks in 1964, which is the year they were incorporated, which is the year that our city was incorporated as well. He quickly became involved in the community. He was appointed to the city's general plan committee and he's charged with drawing up a development plan for Thousand Oaks. That's what kind of got him thinking about getting into public service. He was elected in 1970 to serve a term on the Thousand Oaks City Council. 1975 to 1987, he served as the Ventura County Supervisor, which Camarillo in those days was in his district as well. In 2010 and 2018, he served on the Conejo Valley Park and Recreation Board, and he was elected again in 2018 for another term of Thousand Oaks City Council. So he was a very energetic individual. And Ed played a pivotal role in shaping Thousand Oaks' future. He was instrumental in implementing crucial land use and environmental protection measures. His efforts in preserving open space and implementing strict development standards helped maintain the area's natural beauty. And folks that have been around a little bit like I have, it's pretty hard pressed to know somebody that didn't know Ed Jones. So very appropriate that we adjourn in Ed's memory. He's going to be sorely missed. I served on him recently on VRSD, and he's quite an individual. It's a big loss for the Thousand Oaks community. Second, also Simi Valley Mayor Fred Thomas, a very unexpected. Fred Thomas was a dedicated leader that was committed to public safety, community service, and preserving Simi Valley as a family-friendly community. Fred peacefully passed away in his sleep the morning of January 21st, 2025. He'd been a resident of Simi Valley since 1994, first elected mayor in 2022. They elect their mayor, and I believe it's a 4-year term. And he was elected last November for a second term. He was a longtime volunteer. Fred's legacy includes 20 years of service on the Boys and Girls Club board, leaderships in various community group, and numerous awards such as the Simi Valley Community Foundation Humanitarian Award and the Boys and Girls Club Champion of the Youth Award. And he's going to be missed, and our condolences from our council goes out to all the council members and the residents of Simi Valley. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Martinez Bravo. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mayor, and my condolences to all families impacted. Thank you so much to my fellow council members for allowing me to adjourn in honor of a friend and Camarillo resident and Holocaust survivor, Louise Lutterbeck Kaczynski. Louise Lutterbeck Kaczynski passed away on Saturday, January 25th, 2025, at the age of 97. Louise was born on August 21st, 1927, to Esther Kennisberg and Wolf Kosinski in Nancy, France. Louise was a Holocaust survivor who, at the age of 14, took charge of her 2 younger siblings during World War II. Separated from their parents, they survived hidden in the southern France region by a Christian family, continuing to attend school. Louise's experience of the Holocaust would have a profound and lasting impact on every aspect of her life. At the end of the war, she met her husband, Orrin Lutterbeck, a U.S. soldier, at an American-sponsored dance in her hometown. They married in France, and she immigrated to California as a war bride. She arrived on the first Red Cross War Bride ship to the United States. She and Orrin had 1 daughter, Beatrice, a friend of mine who we call Bee. Having learned to manage the money provided for her and her siblings during the war, Louise was a skilled bookkeeper and accountant. A very proud and independent woman, she continued traveling to France yearly to visit her relatives and friends as long as she was physically able to do so. Her French culture was always very important to her, and she continued to watch French movies and listen to French news daily. For her age, she was remarkably tech-savvy. She loved to knit, and I'm very thankful for the knitted blankets that she gifted me. She loved to cook, garden, and play French Scrabble. She was preceded in death by her husband, Orrin, her brother, Max, and her sister Regine. She leaves behind her daughter Bee, her grandchildren David and Sarah, and great-grandchildren Jeremy and Naomi. In lieu of flowers, the family requests that donations be made in her honor to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. My family and I, we had the honor of celebrating a Thanksgiving with Louise and her daughter Bee, who is a close friend of mine. We invited them to our home and we shared a wonderful, authentic Mexican meal. In return, Bee and Louise treated us to some delicious French pastries and cookies that were a delightful treat for everyone in my family. It was during this special gathering that Miss Louise shared a deeply personal story. She spoke of the harrowing experiences of her and her siblings illegally crossing the border from northern France into southern France, while Nazi police armed with guns patrolled the area. Louise compared her own experiences to the immigration struggles of many immigrants and refugees today, expressing deep sadness over the separation of families that she witnessed in current times. Louise became a donor of Friends of Field Workers, an organization serving farm workers in Ventura County, and the organization extends their gratitude as well. Due to the trauma that she endured, Louise remained a hidden child of the Holocaust for much of her life. She only shared her story with her family members and a few close friends, and as a matter of fact, her neighbors didn't even know that she was Jewish until after she passed away recently. In her later years, Louise formed friendships with a more diverse group of people, and it was through these connections that she was finally able to fully share herself, her life story, and her identity. Despite the immense hardships that she faced, Louise made beautiful memories as a resident of the city of Camarillo, which is why she chose to have her ashes laid to rest in our city, which that will be tomorrow. In honor of her journey and her courage in sharing her story, both her and I would like to share a video that recounts her experience during the Holocaust. It is our hope that by retelling her story, we can continue to honor her memory and the lessons she imparted. It is also my hope that as city leaders, we continue to foster an environment of inclusivity for all people. No one should ever have to hide who they are. By doing so, we could truly embody our city's motto, Las personas son la ciudad, and ensure that Camarillo remains a city for everyone. My sincerest condolences to Bee and her entire family. May God bless you all, and may Louise's memory be a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you.
In July 1942, they started arresting Jews, and we were lucky that the night before we were supposed to be a roundup of Jews in our city, a French policeman, a detective who knew us, came to my mother and said, "Do not sleep home tonight, otherwise, because they're gathering people during the night." So we did not, and spent the night at some employees that we had who were very faithful and devoted employees for many years. And we escaped being arrested that famous night where they were supposed to arrest us. Then my mother decided it's time to go south, where our cousin, nobody was allowed to have any legal passes. And I walked across, risking our life, because I was only not even 15 at the time. I remember I carried a small suitcase or a small bag, I don't remember, and walked across this barbed wire fence where on the other side of it said, if you cross this, you will be shot on sight. But we ran as far as we could, and I escaped with some other adults that we knew. My brother and sister crossed the border hidden in the water tank reservoir of a steam engine. And then we were waiting for our mother, but she never made it. She herself was also arrested at this demarcation line, and we never saw her again. Well, she was arrested and then killed. My father survived Auschwitz. Somehow I found out my father was still alive, and France was being liberated little by little. I went to this little village on the bus, and I came back, and my sister was waiting for me at the bus station, all dressed up, and I couldn't figure out what she's doing, all dressed up, and didn't tell me anything. And I arrived home, and my father was there, and that was the happiest day of my life. That's what the war did to us. The last person to see my mother alive now has Alzheimer's. And I can't even visit with her anymore because she doesn't remember anything. Yeah, I still look for her, as I've said before, in pictures of, when they show pictures of people liberated from camps, or when they show pictures in camps, I look for her face. It's just, I've been not very frank about admitting being Jewish to people who don't know that I'm Jewish.
Why?
And because of this fear of discrimination. You always see people around you have family celebrations and so on. We've had such a small family, and I don't feel I've had a normal life because of that, because of the war. I don't have really close friends at all. War is hell. The war just ruins people's lives. And children always pay for what the adults do.
So the topic about which I've been asked to speak tonight is the making of an investment banker. And I would start by saying investment banking.
Thank you so much for allowing me to adjourn in her honor.
Very well said. A beautiful lady inside and out. Very, the least we could do is adjourn in her memorable memory. Okay, so before I have our city attorney say the magic words for closed session, I'm going to ask one more time. I don't think anybody's out there, but if anybody would like to make a public comment at this particular point, let me know if you would. Okay, so with that, I'm going to turn it over to our counselor and ask her to please explain the reasons why we're going into closed session.
Yes, certainly. We have one item that's on closed session, and it's the OPV coalition litigation as listed on the agenda. And if there's any reportable action, I will make that report. Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we are going to recess to closed session.